David Menzies for Rebel News here at the Kahilat Sharei Torah Temple in North Toronto. And folks, yesterday, a coward paid a visit to this synagogue. It had nothing to do with praying. Rather, it was all about vandalism. In the wee hours of the morning, he used a hammer to smash in 5 separate windows. And what's even more disturbing is that this was not the first time that this particular synagogue had been targeted, nor the second, nor the third. Rather, yesterday marked the 10th time, yes, 10 times in 18 months that this synagogue has been vandalized. Now, I can tell you that the suspect is still at large. He is described by police as being male in his late teens to early 20s. He was wearing a dark blue hoodie, and naturally this reprobate wore a mask, because really that's what cowards do, don't they? But you know, in the aftermath of this grotesque attack, it's interesting to see who is stepping up to condemn it and who is not. First and foremost, Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow. It's been crickets. She has not said a single thing. But really, is that a surprise, folks? It was just a few days ago that Mayor Chow was at an event hosted by the National Council for Canadian Muslims, and she labeled the devastation in Gaza as being a genocide.
The genocide in Gaza impacts us all. Our common bond, our shared humanity.
It's absolutely outrageous. As well, Toronto's cosplaying mayor, who never misses an event to don a costume. Well, she never showed up at the Walk with Israel event for the last 2 years, nor did she attend the second year marking of the massacre in Israel that took place on October 7th, 2023. So increasingly, I think it's becoming very apparent where Olivia Chow stands when it comes to Mideast affairs. And here's another thing, folks. What about the Toronto councillor for this ward? That would be Rachel Chernos-Lynn. I didn't see anything on her X account condemning this attack, so I reached out to her personally by her email, and I asked her if she had any words to say about this. Again, much like the mayor, crickets. And is that really a surprise? Let me tell you a little bit about Chernos-Lynn. She is the chair of the City School Board's Advisory Committee. As well, she used to be the chair of the Toronto District School Board. What am I getting at? Well, get a load of this. Even though anti-Semitism in Toronto has been off the charts, as chair of the Toronto District School Board, this woman was more concerned with so-called anti-Palestinian racism. I'm not making this up. And we have in our hands FOI documents that show there has not been a single reported case of anti-Palestinian racism at Toronto District School Board schools. So she's come up with a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. Again, that's shameful. In any event, we are going to go in to the synagogue and interview Michael Gilmore. He's the executive director here. The rabbi is out of town currently. Let's see what Mr. Gilmore has to say about this ongoing jihad against this particular synagogue. Not your first rodeo, is it? In a year and a half, this makes the 10th time this synagogue has been vandalized in the wee hours of the morning. What's driving this?
I think it's pretty clear that it's anti-Semitism. Further than that is Jew hatred. It's an attempt to tell our community that we are not welcome in Toronto, we're not welcome in Canada. And I've said before, we are roundly and strongly rejecting that message. We are going to be here, we're not going anywhere, and we're going to continue being strong and productive members of Toronto's fabric like we've been for over 100 years.
And Michael, I'm trying to make sense of it all. Going back more than 2 years ago to the worst massacre of Jews post the Holocaust in one day, I speak of October 7th, 2023, we have seen anti-Semitism go off the charts. I mean, you reach out to the Toronto police, if you look at their hate crime number, it is disproportionately anti-Semitic hate crime, and it's even more jarring given the population of Jews. So it's even more worse than the statistics would suggest. What I'm getting at is Israel being victimized, almost 1,200 people killed that day, more than 250 kidnapped. It was almost as though if you had just landed on planet Earth, you think the opposite would have happened. It was Israel conducting an attack on a neighboring state. What is driving this?
It is the desire for Jewish people to not exist. The first pro-Palestinian, I use quotes because the people that do this aren't pro-Palestinian, they're anti-Jewish. The first rally in Toronto was on October 8th. Israel's first response was, I believe, on October 10th. So it was never about stopping a imaginary genocide. It was never about saving Palestinian lives. It was always about trying to hurt the community, and that is become more and more apparent when you talk about the statistics of hate crimes against the Jewish community being the highest. It's always explained away. Well, they are the most comfortable with reporting crimes. They over-report, other communities under-report. That is never said for anyone else. We become tolerant of the intolerant in Canada, and people's desire to break things down into black and white, oppressor versus oppressed, has really diminished their ability to actually critical think in a situation.
Speaking of critical thinking, is that part of the problem too? Because we have covered 2 years of pro-Hamas demonstrations, and yes, you see expatriate Arabs at these demonstrations, but you also see people born and bred in Canada, never been to the Middle East. They have thrown their lot in support of them. And I have to think it's the indoctrination on campus. We have so many examples, Michael, of where the Marxists and the Islamists seem to be ruling the roost. Is that part of the problem, that these kids are being fed propaganda?
I think a lot of it goes down to the propaganda that's being fed to us specifically by social media, and if you follow where that's being tracked to, it's being it goes back to the CCP, it goes back to Iran and Russia to sow discourse in Canada and the United States. They want us divided, they want us fighting each other, so we're not looking over our shoulder of what's actually going on in the world. The big thing is a lot of people that are getting brainwashed. You have to treat it like a cult, because it basically is. You have to deprogram people like you would deprogram someone from a cult. Kids have never experienced real life in the real world. I mean, most Canadians haven't. We think the rest of the world thinks and acts like us. We are grossly wrong about that. We're very privileged, we're very lucky, and we've never experienced, everyone has experienced hardship in their own life. I don't want to diminish that, but we've never experienced what the rest of the world, most of the world lives like and has to go through. So it's easy for us to say, there's a genocide here, there's a genocide there, without actually acknowledging when there actually is a genocide happening, like in Sudan. Where has the mayor been for that? Where has anyone been for that? The Muslim genocide that's happening in China right now. No one,
the Uyghurs,
no one talks about that. Just everything that goes on in the world. If it's not involving Israel, then people tend to not care.
And what I find spectacular too, one group that keeps popping up at these pro-Hamas demonstrations is Queers for Palestine. I can't say it without laughing, because Michael, you and I know very well, if you are out in that community in Gaza, what's going to happen. To me, Queers for Palestine is kind of like chickens for Colonel Sanders. How is it that these people would be so indoctrinated to get into bed with people who despise them?
They have been taken advantage of. There are people that are doing the brainwashing. They know that the LGBTQIA plus community is vulnerable because of what they've gone through. So they are weaponizing that vulnerability and using it to get them on their side. I don't think there truly is. I don't think you could be truly in support of the community in Canada and support what's happening in Gaza. You can't support Hamas or the Palestinian Authority, or you couldn't live there. I really think they are being taken advantage of, and they are fed a narrative driven by social media algorithms that are not giving them the true picture of what's happening.
Changing gears, Michael, what is the cost to the synagogue? I mean, you lost 5 windows to the vandalism, this most recent bout of vandalism, but I'm assuming, like so many other synagogues I've visited, you've probably ramped up your security costs, CCTV cameras, so on and so forth. Do you have any numbers for us in terms of what this damage means?
Yeah, since the first vandalism on April 19th, 2024, we spent just north of $160,000 in security improvements. And then each window that's been vandalized is going to cost between $5,000 to $7,000 to replace. One of the harsh realities of being a member of a Jewish community or being involved in a synagogue is that we can't make insurance claims. A lot of people think, well, this will be an insurance issue. It's not. And synagogues are considered risky business for insurance companies. I've heard stories of synagogues in the United States losing their coverage completely because they're too much of a risk, or being covered for incidences excluding vandalism. Our premiums are already very high because we are seen as riskier, and if we made even one claim, they would go through the roof. So even from the first vandalism, we've made no claims through insurance. We are keeping that in case something catastrophic, God forbid, happens. We need our insurance, so we can't make any claims.
I find what you just said so profoundly sad. A house that is welcoming, a house of worship, being considered by some insurers to be too high risk?
Yeah, it's the lived experience of the Jewish community that it's hard for people to wrap their heads around. They think, I understand, it's impossible to walk a mile in someone else's shoes, but there are so many underlying and layers to our pain of what's been going on that it's hard for the average Canadian to understand.
Clearly, what you are enduring, like so many other synagogues, these are intimidation tactics. Are those tactics going to work? Is this going to make you close shop and relocate, or, I don't know, any kind of other provision?
No, absolutely not. I mean, there's a reason why they come in the middle of the night, because, my office hours are 9 to 5. They can come anytime, but they're not coming anytime. They're coming when no one's here because they're cowards. The message is Jews aren't welcome, and our message is, well, we've been told that for thousands of years. We're going to continue doing what we do best, which is care for each other, care for the greater community around us, and keep on rallying together and building progress.
One last angle, Michael. I haven't seen anything from Mayor Olivia Chow's office condemning the attack, which you would think would be the very least, unless I've missed something. But has the mayor reached out to you?
The mayor has not reached out to me. I believe that she did put out a statement later on. But as many things with Mayor Chow, it's too little too late. I've had a couple conversations with her where it appeared to me like she understood our issues and was willing to move forward to help make lives easier for the Jewish community and truly understand what we're going through. And then she turns around and that isn't the case. So it's unfortunate that she's decided to not support some members of her own community that she should be representing. And it's unfortunate that it's gone this far. And I wish she would really stick to her oath of representing every Torontonian.
Michael, I think it's becoming increasingly clear which side she stands for. We've seen the last 2 years of Walk with Israel. She's a no-show. She didn't show up to the anniversary marking the October 7th slaughter of 2023. And just a few days ago, she was calling what's happening in Gaza as a genocide. How does that make you feel as a Jew?
I mean, it makes me, I don't feel anything, but honestly, it's par for the course. It's standard operating procedure for her at this point. I just need to keep on focusing on the people that are there for us. Our city councilors, our MPP, our MPs, many have reached out, many non-Jewish members of not just Toronto's community. I've gotten a call from someone from Halifax today, wanting to express his support. So it really is, we just got to focus on the good and just keep on carrying on.
Well, a terrible situation, 10 times vandalized in just a year and a half. Michael, last word goes to you.
Thank you. It's always important for us to just stay focused on our community, stay focused on what matters, which is each other. Windows can be rebuilt, buildings can be fixed, but as long as every one of our community members are safe and feel empowered to still come to synagogue, then that's the most important thing. And sometimes you never know who's going to show up for you. You know, our Windows guy, Avi Peskov from Neon Windows and Doors. I just got it. He was here every time we've been vandalized. He's schlepped out from the middle of Hubbitsville. He's fixed our windows. This guy is there for us, and it's just not because of any reason other than the fact that, you know what, I'm gonna help them out. I'm Jewish, we're Jewish, and that's kind of a microcosm of what the community does. It doesn't matter what we're doing, we stop and help each other.
So nice to end on a positive note. Thank you for your time, Michael.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Thank you.
You know what, folks? The last 2 years, we have seen such disgusting antics, calls for genocide, the display of swastikas, people cosplaying as the terrorist Sinwar. And you know what? A lot of these people aren't even Canadian citizens. They're here on temporary work visas. They're international students. And if that's the case, you have no right to do these odious actions. If you believe like we do that they should leave, please sign our petition at deporthamas.com. That's deporthamas.com. If you are a guest in our country and you're clamoring for genocide, time to pack your bags and leave.